Hi, I'm Nick Riley from Bonafide Support Services, and just a quick presentation about cash flow. Particularly in difficult times, it's really important to know your numbers. So we're going to talk about three major things: know your numbers, no surprises, and really get on the front foot with both payments and receipts. I'm just going to hop across into a presentation. So 13-week would be the model that I'd certainly recommend everybody adopts. And if you have a low point, then I would have a 45-day model running at the same time. So just looking at this in specific, hopefully everybody's already got a model of some descriptions, but if you've gone for the bank balance at the top, I like to see that. I like to see everything on the one page, and then your receipts and the major payments. So ordinarily, you would just have one line for both your payments and receipts, but when times are tight, you want to be able to see what the big numbers are so as you can control them. So I would actually itemize any big lumpy receipts coming in, so you can actually really target them, make sure they do come in the door and preempt them as much as you can. And exactly the same thing with payments going out. So you actually have big numbers in there, and you can delay or control or speak to people as is necessary. So in my model, just as an example, here's an illustrative low point. So if my low point was going beyond my funding limits by the 12th of June, I'd expect to have a 45-day plan before that. So we can really micromanage that cash flow to make sure we don't pass our limits and hopefully have something to show to funders. Okay, so if I stop share, I'm back on there. So what else do we need to have going on? I would, in times, difficult times, I would be running two models: a probable situation and a worst case scenario. So as we're in the coronavirus period as we speak, I would anticipate a 2-month lockdown and probably a slow month coming out the back of that. But it could be as bad as 4 months. Worst case scenario, 6 months. Go for what you believe in your heart is the worst case. And then from there, you're really looking at what could go wrong. So some people are assuming furlough payments would come in quickly. For those that aren't aware, that's the government scheme whereby you pay your staff and they'll pay you back 2.5 grand or 80% of their salary, whichever is the lowest number. Well, the portal for that's probably not online to the end of April. So when will you see the money? Probably assume maybe mid-May, and hopefully you're pleasantly surprised. Other things to watch out for would be major client defaults. So to assume you're going to get everything in, I think, would be lucky. Some people will use it as an excuse. Others just won't be able to pay you. So make an assumption there, maybe 25% default. Again, within your specific business, hopefully you've got a stronger flavor for what your actual numbers are. Okay, so with your worst case scenario, where is your low point? Are you going to breach any funding limits? And if so, you need to get the capital in place, and you need to get it in as soon as you possibly can. So on receipts, the major thing is communication. Major payments, let's make the calls to those key clients and check, number one, how they're doing and how their business is performing and getting through what is obviously a difficult time for many, but also, is your payment coming? When is it coming? Is it coming on time? Is there anything you can do to make life easier for them to facilitate that happening? But also, is there an alternate contact? If your key contact is away, who are you going to speak to in that business? Exactly the same for potential working capital sources. You don't really ring it up when it's panic times. And if it's loans and things, you're going to have to present a lot of information in advance. So you need to get those wheels moving so that you can pull the trigger when you need to pull the trigger and not when you're at panic stations. So the key thing being make the calls. And a good example is an electrical contracting business I do some work with. They made all their calls middle of last week, and by Friday they got 3/4 of their April payments in the door, which is obviously really useful at what's a difficult time. Okay, so on receipts, that would be it. But payments out, it's a similar story. Major creditors, get in touch with them, find out how they're doing. Can you help them out in any way? If you are cash rich now, and maybe you run on a monthly cycle and they've got a lot of weekly payments, maybe you can pay them something in these current weeks, which helps them keep ticking along until you get to a payment coming in that lets you pay them off in full. It's about greasing the wheels upstream and downstream. You're trying to balance the whole proceedings here. If you do have a major hiccup, get in touch, make that call, let them know, tell them what you're doing, how you're going to facilitate it. There's nothing worse than the surprise of money not landing, and you're playing the long game here. You want to be on the front foot when you come out of this scenario, and people remember who's treated them honorably and fairly during the process. So hopefully this is all going to help you bounce back better. So just to wrap up, 3 major things: know your numbers, no surprises, and get on the front foot with both payments and receipts.